Alright, I'm gonna put y'all on to a little pipeline game. When it comes to traveling, that's a big stick in my whole lifestyle and game in general. You know, I like to travel, and it's the biggest part of my game actually. It's like the best thing for me right now. That's totally what I can do and get laid constantly if I'm gonna be traveling and hitting up certain spots, spot here, spot there. So if you're the traveling type, whether you're hitting up town or different cities within your state or within your country, pipelining that shit, it's the best way to get laid. The concept of pipelining is very, very fucking simple. Be you having something in the proverbial pipeline for whenever you get to your destination. So for instance, let me break it down. If you're traveling to, let's say you're heading to London and you're from New York. Now, it'll be wise and prudent to have something lined up in the fucking pipeline for whenever you get to London. That's essentially what pipeline game is. So if I'm gonna hit up London, I would have already had something lined up with the girl in London for when I touch down. So I will pipeline it that way. When it comes to Facebook, this is one of the biggest shtick in my game. Pipelining the shit since I travel a lot. So whenever I'm gonna hit up another country, so I don't have to touch down, scurrying and trying to do day game or night game, trying to get laid at the last second. I would have already had something lined up. So that is pipeline game. And when, for instance, on Facebook, it's pretty simple, and I'm gonna break it down to you in just a bit on how you can make this happen online and what are the specifics and the logistics in pipelining that shit whenever you're gonna travel. Before I get into the technique aspect of pipelining it, I want to first caution you that after you will have picked up a girl in the pipeline for whenever you would have traveled to wherever you're going, after you would have done that, it's best to try to aim for, let's say, no more than a week. Meaning you wanna line that shit up at least a week prior to traveling. Anything over that, you would have probably maxed out the fucking chemistry basically. So because chemistry has an expiration date, we always teach this a lot in pickup. You know, if you meet a girl and pick her up today and the chemistry is hot, it isn't indefinite. The shit will evaporate eventually. And depending on the girl in this situation, the shit could evaporate fast. So if you pick a girl up today, preferably you would like to do that about a week or less before traveling. Because if you're gonna travel a month later and you already have something pipeline, what is the sense? The girl may forget about you. You may forget about her. The chemistry may just die. You know, so if you're gonna pipeline it, try to do it in a situation where it's not exceeding a week's time before you're gonna travel. All right, so it could be great for tomorrow if you're gonna travel tomorrow. Pipeline the shit today with the girl for tomorrow or for the next day, 3 days later, 4 days later. Anything more than a week and the vibe may just fizzle out. So I want to caution you on that before I get into the technique and the technical aspect of how to get the shit done, especially over Facebook. And that's what I'm going to teach you right now and how I do it. Here's the good part. If you don't already have a few girls in the pipeline, or you don't know any girl in another town or country whom you may want to meet up with, Facebook is great for making this happen. Any social media site, I guess. So what you want to do, and I typically do this, I do this all the time. What you want to do is contact any random girl on Facebook who passes your proverbial boner test. You know, girls who are to your liking. You know, you may run across a girl's profile whom you like, but she happens to be in another country or another state, another region, another area of your city, town, whatever it may be. She's not in your immediate town, but however, you are going to travel to where she lives. So a way in which you can do this, and like I said, I always do it, is I would hit the search filter on Facebook. I would filter the shit down to the specific location. Let's say I'm going to Brazil. I would search I would filter the whole search thing on Facebook to where, you know, I put in Brazil, whether it's Sao Paulo, whether it's Brazil City, it doesn't matter. Whatever city or town I'm going within Brazil, I would narrow the search filter down to that on Facebook. So random fucking hotties obviously would pop up. You know, I would search for names, random names, and I would find these hotties within that city. And this is on Facebook. Like I said, it could possibly be done on other social media sites. Definitely on dating sites, you can do this. So it'll be great to work on dating sites actually. But on Facebook, I do this a lot. And I would say to myself, okay, cool. She passes my boner test. I'm going to Brazil in another week anyway, or in 3 days anyway. So let me contact this chick. Let me inbox her and set this shit up. And that's all you simply have to do. You send her an inbox message, or you even just add her, just friend request her. And the way I do this sometimes is, along with the friend request, accompanying that would be a little message, you know, a little inbox, which is like, hey, I'm Kenny, you know, I just came across your profile. Nice to meet you. We'll catch up a little later. Bam, that's it. That's all that accompanies the friend request. So you don't have to get elaborate and gamey about it. Now, here's the thing I also want to caution you on. Before setting up the pipeline, before actually trying to get the girl to let's say agree to meeting up or to confirm it, you firstly have to game her. So you can't just randomly contact a stranger on Facebook after you would have friend request her and say, hey, listen, I'm coming to your town next week. Let's go meet up for drinks. That is essentially what you want to do or you want to say to her. But you can't just cold say that shit to her and expect her to jump on the offer. So you have to game her up prior to that. You have to have game. Game is applicable here. So don't think there's a way to circumvent this shit and get around having game. No, you have to have game. You have to game the girl. So let me give a few examples. All right, let's say I'm going to Brazil in 4 days. I would search through the search section on Facebook, see a few girls in Brazil, contact the ones I like. I would send her an inbox message along with my friend request, or maybe not, just send her the request. More likely than not, she would accept it. If she does, which most times they do, I would then game the girl a bit. I'll say, hey, you know, this is blah, 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 I'm so-and-so, and my usual game, the usual stick. And then after that, you know, let's say 2 days go by, I would then hit her with the pitch. She's already keen on me. She's already somewhat attracted to the initial conversation. So then I would hit her with the pitch. And that is what you have to do. You can't just go hit her with the pitch right away. Let's meet up. It's not going to work. It's going to be weirded out. So you have to game her a bit. Alright, I quickly want to show you guys a few examples from Facebook where I pipeline that shit. And these are about 4 or 5 different girls whom I picked up on Facebook. So here it is. Let's go to the first girl. This is a pipeline example. Great example right here. Alright, just curious, are you Indian or Arab? This is what I asked her. She says, LOL, mixed with Spanish and Italian. LOL, far off. Always wanted to ask though. This is what I said to her. So, what do your weekends look like? I wanted us to go for a drink one of these weekends when I come to, you know, obviously I censor where the girl lives. Anyway, so she says, you know, blank blank, I censor that. So in other words, she's closer to where I'm located. She's not in Brazil. So I said, thought you were living in Brazil from what I see in your profile. I'm from blank. You sexy as hell. Would like to meet up with you real soon. I live between blank and blank, passing through blank by Thursday. She gives a thumbs up. So basically I'm telling her I'm gonna pass through her town by Thursday. And I said to her, so, I wanna fuck the shit out of you. How far are you from blank or blank area? Far, thanks. You know, I guess she said thanks for me saying I'm gonna fuck the shit out of her. So you're further blank then? You know, this is from obviously, you know, blank that. You know, she said, would be nice to grab a bite and a drink, then come holler at you. This is what I said to her. Okay. Now with this girl, we eventually met up and I did seal the deal. After pipelining it, I went. Now with this girl here, I don't usually text, but I'm coming blank next weekend, and taking a road trip from blank, but I'm scheduled to overnight in blank on business. I want to see you while I'm there. We can hang out and get in each other's heads a little bit. So this is what I said to this girl on Facebook. Now she replied with, that'll be cool. Just moved in my new house. You can stop by. Be cool to chat. I say cool with the thumbs up. So now that was just, look how willing she was. I mean, I just told her, hey, I'm coming to your town. I'm gonna be overnighting there. And she's like, cool, just stop by my new apartment. And so guys, it gets no easier. So this is the last chick now. And I said to her, I hear you. I'm passing blank next month for about a week. And pertinent details I had blanked out. Those were the locations to my hotel and stuff. So I had edited those out. So the girl says, okay, that's good. Just let me know when you're here. I'm always in blank, so yeah. Oh really? How come you being? This is what I said to her. Well, my family is in blank and blank. I just like to distance myself, so I'm in blank. So in other words, the girl is basically telling me, well, cool, whenever I get to her town, hit her up and we can hang out. She's always in the area where my hotel is located anyway. So guys, it's very simple. I want to caution you that chemistry has a natural tendency to fizzle out. I repeat, chemistry has a natural fucking tendency to fizzle out. So in other words, if you pick up a girl today on Facebook or any online dating site and she's located in another city, country, which you will be visiting soon, hopefully, you want to make this happen at least a week or less before traveling. Anything above a week, anything exceeding a week, and the chemistry is likely to fizzle out. The girl is likely to fade away. She's likely to lose interest. She's likely to forget about you because too much time has elapsed. So you want to pipeline at least a week or a few days, before you do your traveling. Right. On a psychological level, the reason why it's much easier to get laid while pipelining and traveling through cities, towns, and so forth, the reason why it's much easier to get laid that way is because people are generally hospitable to strangers, out-of-towners, foreigners, travelers, tourists, whatever. People are naturally hospitable towards those type of people. So that is why girls are much more likely to be willing to hang out, to meet up for drinks, go on a date, and eventually fuck if you have game that is. So this is why when I'm traveling, I hardly ever have to game outside of the girls who already have in the pipeline prior to traveling. I really don't have to game. I literally game when I travel just because I like gaming. Like I said, because on a psychological level, people are hospitable towards people who are just transitioning through their town. And it's a safety factor also. People are much more safer around others who don't necessarily know the lay of the land. So in other words, if I'm a stranger to London and I'm in London and I meet a chick from London, whether it's during day game or pipelining from a week earlier, she'll be much more willing to actually meet up with me because I'm a stranger. I don't know her city. I can't do her any harm really because where am I gonna go? Like where? Where am I gonna hide? I don't know anybody in London. I don't live in London. I have no safe house in London. So technically, girls on a psychological level are seeing it that way. So they'll be much more likely to meet up with a stranger or a guy who's just transitioning through their town, opposed to if you were from the actual town or actual city. So I hope you get the psychological aspect to it. It's very deep, and just really check it out, and you'll see it. Just analyze situations around you personally. Look at tourists. Look at the way they move around. Look at the way people are hospitable to tourists and travelers and people who are just transitioning. They ask for directions, and people are much more willing to give than if you appear to be a regular or someone who's from the town. Alright, so use that to your advantage. Use your foreignness to your advantage. And this doesn't have to be like overseas from wherever you are. Like I said, if you're in the States, you could be a New Yorker heading to Los Angeles. And you'll still get the same treatment. You'll still get that, oh, he's not from here, so let me be hospitable towards him. So it's pretty simple and it's easy game.